You are about to participate in the most ambitious culinary experiment ever imagined.
This competition is going to test everything.
Adapt quickly to anything. I mean anything. The wildest day of your life starts right now.
All new 24 and 24, Last Chef Standing. Sunday night at 8 on Food Network. Stream on Max.
In the darkest corners of the internet, a nameless, formless entity has been growing. No one dares question where it was created or what it wants, but those who have been entranced by its musings chant its blood-curdling name in unison. Horror Movie Night! Find Horror Movie Night on your favorite podcasting app or at hmnpodcast.com.
Let's party each and every year on Christmas Eve, where the fun and cocktail shrimp don't seem to end. Clark and Ralphie taking turns on the TV screen, laughing, singing, yelling with all of our friends. Well, it's Christmas, and let the bodies go spread the holiday cheer.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Matt.
So there's a thing that I've done a couple times on this show, and this is no different, which is that I'll binge a show for the first time, and I'll keep track of every Christmas episode of that show. And when I'm done watching the show, I just pick my favorite of the Christmas episodes and say, we're going to do an episode of Christmas 365,
Nice, yeah.
just so I can talk about the fact that I watched a show that I kind of liked.
Yeah. And then in like a couple years, we'll watch the other one.
Yep, exactly. So we're talking about a show called Happy Endings. And
Yeah.
let me tell you about how Happy Endings was a very recent discovery for me about a year ago. If you remember, about a year or two ago, I did a binge of every episode of Friends.
Yes.
And when I was binging Friends, I was also listening to the Best of Friends podcast. And they kept bringing up Happy Endings on that show. The two hosts kept saying, like, everyone says that How I Met Your Mother is the spiritual successor to Friends, but they're like, honestly, we think that Happy Endings captures the friendship better than How I Met Your Mother. And I don't know if I fully agree with it, but it made me interested in checking out the show.
It's wild that you bring that up because about halfway through this episode, I was like, this is just Friends shot differently. Like
shot a little differently. It's a single cam instead of a multi-cam and all that. Now, I think that the show is better than the average sitcom about Friends, but also like it's not like it's breaking new ground. There's no moment where I'm like, oh, this is now something that does not come up in this episode that I think is the biggest selling point for me is my favorite character in the show is Max, the one who's addicted to eggnog in this particular episode.
The one who would have definitely died if because he gets stabbed with a letter cutter that is way longer than that camelback is.
Yeah,
he should be dead.
He should be dead. So the character of Max is very gay. He is like the Barney Stinson of the show, but if Barney Stinson was gay. So all of like the Barney Stinson stuff is like him trying to pick up dudes. I think we get like the tiniest hint of that in the beginning when he's hitting on the Asian waiter. But like, that's it. Like, that's really all we get in this episode. He is far and away my favorite character because, and I know that, I think I read somewhere that he got a lot of, even though it's a straight man playing a gay character, got a lot of respect in the LGBTQ realm because he was so different than every other gay character on television because he was just like a messy, sloppy, awful dresser. Like it was kind of like, let's take away every single cliche of a gay man and just make him like the douchiest frat guy who just happens to be also very gay. But love this show. Love this episode because it's actually a pretty fun concept. You find out that one of your best friend's birthday is on Christmas, and because of that, they hate Christmas because they've always had to share Christmas and their birthday. And I think about, could either one of us do this? Could
No.
either one of us give up Christmas for a
I
day
looked
for
at
a
Teddy
friend?
and I said, fuck that.
Yep.
I said, if your birthday was on Christmas, I just want you to know we're celebrating it another day. Like, I don't mind separating your birthday and Christmas. I don't mind having 2 days, but you don't get Christmas.
You don't get Christmas. That's just how it is. I
sorry.
love the line. There's a scene towards the end of the show where Jane finds like a cult of people who all have their birthday on Christmas.
Yes.
And they're having their little celebration and they're sharing their stories of woe about like how their birthday was always neglected for Christmas. And the one guy goes, 1 year for Christmas, my parents got me a bike. And for my birthday, they got me air for the tires in the bike.
Well, that was similar to her story. She got the Easy Bake Oven and then got batteries for the Easy Bake Oven that ruined her birthday.
But I like that she has a bridge too far when they're like, and now our favorite part of the celebration, we go out in the streets and destroy everybody's Christmas decorations. She's like, oh, I gotta go. And she says to David Wayans, we gotta leave before the riot. He's like, what riot? She goes, it'll be on the news.
Yeah, it'll be on the news.
It'll
Don't
be
worry.
on the news.
God.
There are so many good lines in this show, I think, when they're trying to explain how they're going to avoid Christmas. And the line that kills me, there was 2 lines back to back that killed me. He says, and this year, Max is going to be agnostic, pun intended. And Max leans in and he goes, I'm not saying there is eggnog. I'm not saying there's not eggnog. I'm just saying that I have no way of knowing for sure. And then she points out, she's like, look, if you're going to have to cut out Christmas entirely, you need to cut out every element of it because Christmas will sneak on in. And she lifts up Penny's foot to reveal that she's wearing Christmas socks. And she goes, no, that's not Santa Claus. That's the old man from Jurassic Park. And those are candy caneosaurus.
And then his ringtone plays and he says it's the Jurassic Park theme.
It's the Jurassic Park theme. And he sings his lyrics. Jurassic Park, Newman gets killed bad.
I think I'm gonna bring the air down a little bit.
Bring it down. Come on, hit me with it. Hit me with
a little bit.
My passion for this show has been 3 months tops.
Okay.
So
I think my biggest issue with this show is like I watch it and I go, okay, I'm gonna go just watch a better version of this.
yeah,
somewhere
no,
else.
I think that's
Like-
fair.
like,
and I think
it's-
that's what happened with audiences.
Yeah.
Like I think that it just all of these people. It's interesting because you look at when the show was canceled, right? Like, so Damon Wayans Jr., I was talking about New Girl with you off the air.
Yep.
Damon Wayans Jr. was in the pilot episode of New Girl. Mm-hmm. He was in the pilot episode of this. Mm-hmm. Both of the shows got picked up, and he picked this show.
Oh God.
And then 3 seasons later in New Girl, his character comes back because the show got canceled, and he's like, all right, well, I'm going to go back to New Girl. Similarly, I'm watching The Mindy Project, and the actor who played Max shows up in the 2nd season of Mindy Project, which I think lines up with when this show was canceled again. And then you've got, like, it's a pretty stacked comedic cast. I think that the people that they got are very funny. The one was in Scrubs for a couple seasons, the character who plays Jane. Obviously, you've got the girl next door.
Yep.
Like, as she was kind of the main person they were advertising. She was the biggest name by a mile. But I don't know. I think that it's charming how weird I like that it wasn't just like, oh, they like Christmas. They gave them all very weird, obsessive things about Christmas, like her obsession with watching people open things. And
Yes.
and she's like, I think it's time to open the gifts. It's 4 p.m. and I haven't seen anyone open a goddamn gift all day. I feel like that would be us if we had to give up Christmas for a day. Is that it wouldn't be the like getting the gifts. It would be other tiny Christmas elements that we'd be losing our minds.
Yeah. Like where's
that
my
we weren't
fucking
getting
scrambled
to do.
eggs with hot sauce?
Yeah, exactly. You're like, what the shit is happening?
Poached eggs? Get this shit out of here. That's
Yeah.
not Christmas.
Now you did bring
Fucking
this
woke.
up last week.
Yes.
The moment where I said this is the episode we're talking about was actually the appearance of Hip Hop Santa.
Yes.
When he opens the pantry and Hip Hop Santa, which basically just looks like Snoop Dogg with like in a Santa outfit.
Yes.
And he starts dancing and David Wayans goes, "Oh man, are you popping? You can't pop without a lock."
And then he starts battle dancing the fucking hip hop Santa.
And then he comes back at the end for a very fun hip hop dance off with the whole cast of people.
Weird. Like that the Damon Wayans dance off with the Santa seemed inoffensive enough, and then like at the end it just felt real weird. The end felt like the end of that Community episode when they're watching them crump. And they're like, is this crumping? Is this crumping? Like, that's what the end of this episode felt like. And nothing, like, shines a light on that more than Alicia Cuthbert's character dancing towards it, where I'm like, yeah, this looks like Jeff Winger crumping. Like,
yeah.
In the darkest corners of the internet, a nameless, formless entity has been growing. No one dares question where it was created or what it wants, but those who have been entranced by its musings chant its blood-curdling name in unison. Horror Movie Night!
Find Horror Movie Night on your favorite podcasting app or at hmnpodcast.com.
At Maximum Mediocrity, people say things like,
I don't dress like this on the regular basis. This isn't my, pooping uniform. This is not.
And they also say things like,
The nurses are usually either angels of mercy or whores.
Every episode is a new experience where you get to know people that aren't famous but should be.
Why did my facing Floyd Mayweather in the woods?
My co-host Morgan and I track down the people you didn't know you needed to hear from.
It's like hot sex in a mug.
We are the Maximum Mediocrity Podcast, and we are on all major podcasting platforms. We'll be waiting for you.
I almost started saying this off the air. This is one of those shows, much like you were talking about the Mindy Project, that like I just have my interest is so far removed from it, and I think it's because I stopped watching regular TV at one point, because like my knowledge of sitcom television like is basically around this area of the bigger shows of the honestly, it's so funny to put Community in there because it was fighting for its life every season, but Community, 30 Rock, Parks and Rec, Office at that point.
Like I said, I didn't even know this show existed until I listened to that Friends podcast. And I think that this was, again, this is one of those shows that if you dig into like the cult following of it, does pop up in like those like shows that were canceled too early conversations by like people who are like comedy nerds were like, this show's brilliant. But it never found its audience, like
there's
ever.
There's a weird thing happening at Walmart right now, where this company, I don't know what company is doing it, but they're putting two TV series together and selling them as a double pack. Do you know what this came double packed with?
How I Met Your Mother?
Community. No.
Oh, Community.
It was
no,
Community and this show.
I think it makes sense because I think here's the big difference, and I'm going to actually say something similar to what you said about Glee last week.
Yeah.
While I agree with you that you're watching this and you're like, this feels like I could just be watching a better show.
Yeah.
Packaging it with Community makes sense because I think what I found the charm in with this show is that it did feel like as you were watching it, it almost felt like someone was writing a Bad Friends spinoff that knew that they were writing a Bad Friends spinoff. So they were constantly like winking at the camera about it because they really, I think it was like in this realm of, and Community did this beautifully, 30 Rock did this beautifully, where you go like, Seinfeld is great, Friends is great, like those shows are great, but the characters are too realistic, and we need to just like be as absurdist as possible, and the comedy is how not relatable this is anymore. Like, and Happy Endings walks that line a lot more than even some, which I love How I Met Your Mother. How I Met Your Mother really did try to still walk the line of like, everyone who watches this is going to be like, this represents how my friends are. When you watch this, you don't see yourself in like any of the characters really. And that's kind of the fun is like there's a line, I think like the best example of this show's sense of humor is towards the end when Penny opens her gift from her boyfriend.
The giant candle.
And it's a big, she goes, oh my God, a big ass candle. And it's this huge candle. Like when he says, I got her this big ass candle. Yeah, I'm sure you, like I was thinking it was just like a large candle that you would get. Like,
I didn't expect it.
She will sell it.
You could kill somebody with that thing.
You could kill somebody. And then she's explaining to him the gift. He's like, so the big ass candle? And she's like, yeah, we were watching Contagion. And he looked at me and he said, baby, if you ever get sick, I have no problem killing you, but I'll light a big ass candle.
Yeah, he said, don't worry, I'll put a bullet in your head and then light a big ass candle right next to you.
Right next to you. And she goes, no guy's ever offered to kill me. Yeah. Well, one guy, but it was during sex, so I don't know if that counts.
I think she might have been my favorite character.
Penny is great because she's the like terminally single character of the show.
She's Phoebe.
Yeah, but she's like like think about like Phoebe, but if Phoebe was fucking thirsty all the time, like that's her thing. Is she just like, all right, she just wants to settle down with anybody. So like her plot beats is that she's constantly dating people who she has nothing in common with.
Yeah,
but she's just so desperate to be the married one. Yeah. Aww. But it's played for laughs. It's like, okay, we all know that there's a person in your life that's just like, so they don't care that it's the wrong person. It's just a person, and that's enough.
Yeah, for sure.
He's breathing. All right, let's do it. Let's go for it.
Much like Glee, I don't think this pulls me to watch the entire series unless I'm recording a podcast about it.
No, and I think that this is the only real Christmas episode I'm going to make you watch. So this is pretty much the end of your happy endings journey.
I was scrolling,
there was other ones, but this was the one. There was like one or two other ones, but this is the one where I was like, this one's a lot of fun. The only other lines that I wrote down, because I did write down a couple lines here, was when Max first walks back into the apartment and he burps and Damon Wayans starts sniffing behind him and he spins him around and he goes, are you back on the sweet and creamy? And then he's trying to detox him by basically waterboarding him in the sink, and he pulls his head up and he yells, I didn't vote for Obama. I couldn't respect his March Madness bracket.
Oh my God. And then he said he thought it was a joke, and Damon Wayans he told him it was a joke, and Damon Wayans just still fucking
well, no, he goes,
because he thought I was put in Casey Affleck as a write-in, and he goes, every vote counts, and fucking puts it back on the water.
Those are the moments that I'm like, okay, this show's brilliant. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely acquired taste. But the premise, in case you're curious, because we're on the last season, this random episode I picked.
I think my thing is, I don't want to. Again, I think we don't do it as much anymore, but I feel like our dichotomy has always been like, if I like something you don't, or you like something I don't. It's not that I don't like it, it's just there's so much in the world now.
Yeah, no, there's so much out there. I totally get it.
It's hard.
For the audience listening, here's the very quick elevator pitch. The show starts with the wedding of Dave and Alex.
Yeah.
And Alex leaves Dave at the altar for a random guy in rollerblades. And they go off on the honeymoon together, and Dave's left alone. But the problem is that Alex's older sister, Jane, is married to Dave's best friend, Brad. So no matter what, he can't escape Alex being in his life. So the first season is like them trying to work out what that dynamic even looks like anymore, because they don't want the friend group to completely fall apart because of this. And then it's just wacky adventures from there. So Dave, looking for a roommate, has Max move in with him. So Max and Dave live together. Penny is Jane's best friend. So it's kind of just like all of them have been friends for years. They're living together in one place. Things are getting bad. Dave goes through an identity crisis. He eventually opens up a food truck called Steak Me Home Tonight.
I fucking love
it. But that's most of the show is just like them getting into trouble. One of my favorite episodes involves them going to a Halloween night, and Max is all excited. He's like, we're going to this. It's the gayest Halloween party of the year. I always hook up. It's going to be great. And Alex is super sick with a cold, but she's like, no, I never miss this party. She's like, I got a sexy, slutty costume. I'm going to hook up with somebody tonight. And she shows up, and she's dressed like Marilyn Monroe, but she still has the real raspy voice from being sick. So everyone at the gay club thinks she's a drag queen. And
Oh
keeps
my
hitting
God.
It's like that's like the weird humor that they build throughout the show. So if you only watch one other episode, I'll find out what episode that is, because the Halloween episode is very good, and we'll never cover it on Christmas 365.
And you know me, I'm all about specifically themed episodes.
Yeah, you love a good themed
I
episode.
love a
Who
good
doesn't?
themed episode.
Well,
everybody
Dylan
does, man. Hey, that's our bread and butter here. Themed
I was going to say, listen, the theme of this week's episode, Dylan, is that I would have a million happy endings with you, buddy.
Dude, I'd take on Hip Hop Santa in a breakdancing competition for you, buddy.
My money's on you anyway.
Oh.
Now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Happy holiday. Have a great holiday. Have a merry happy holiday.
In the darkest corners of the internet, a nameless, formless entity has been growing. No one dares question where it was created or what it wants, but those who have been entranced by its musings chant its blood-curdling name in unison. Horror Movie Night!
Find Horror Movie Night on your favorite podcasting app or at hmnpodcast.com.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.